The officials on the start line saw a pack of runners coming down the straight, which was the lead pack about to finish the fourth lap of their mile and hand off to their next runner. What the officials forgot is that those runners had lapped some other runners.
Oh, crap. Flynn Merriman, I'm so happy to have you on the handoff. I really am. You're a family friend for sure.
Sweet. Yeah, no, it's great to be here.
You're friends with both Alex and Jordan. What years did you attend Los Gatos High School?
So my first year as a freshman was 2021 to 22, and then I just graduated now, class of 2025. So I had a couple of years with each of your sons.
You only ran for a couple of years.
I ran all 4 years cross-country track.
Oh, okay. You ran all 4 years. Your claim to fame is that you are the most improved runner for Los Gatos in history?
You could probably say that. I mean, there's no real way to define that. You could go by one course or one thing here and there, and I don't exactly say, I don't walk around and say I'm the most improved guy, but whenever I talk to the ex-head coach, Willie Harmatz, he likes to brag to other people about how I'm the most improved in some manner.
Do you have any numbers you want to share with us?
I mean, if we want to go biggest gap, I started my freshman year. I really didn't want to run, and my mom made me do it because she ran in high school. So I really didn't want to be there, and I did my first Crystal Springs in a 28:05, but I took so long to finish it that they didn't know there was another runner on the course, and they actually started the varsity girls race, so I didn't get my time on athletic.net, and I crossed the line when the timer had already started for the next race, so I didn't get a time. So it's unofficial, but that's what I got on my watch. So I started out there, and 4 years later, I ran same course CCS finals in a 15:59.
Whoa! That was at Crystal Springs?
Yeah, that was the CCS finals. I was like 20-something place in that race.
Eli Fitch and Young said anything under 16 is an impressive time for Crystal Springs. I mean, it's pretty hilly.
It's a great course, yeah. I mean, anything Eli says is impressive. I'll listen to that. He's a pretty impressive guy himself, so I'll take that. I mean, I did 15:59.94.
That's under 16.
So on some sites it rounds it to a 16 on some sites, but if you ask me, that's wrong rounding because it would go down to a 15:59.9. But I could argue about that forever because our school principal sent out an email and said I did 16 on a second. In the 4x mile at Nike Outdoor Nationals on Friday, there were 2 heats, and we were in the first heat, and the officials, there was some crazy stuff going on. So the first leg was me. I ran, race went fine, handed off to Ryan. Ryan had his leg, went fine, and then he handed off to Kevin. And Kevin ran the first 3 laps of the 4x mile. And what happened here was really weird. The officials on the start line saw a pack of runners coming down the straight, which was the lead pack about to finish the 4th lap of their mile and hand off to their next runner. What the officials forgot is that those runners had lapped some other runners.
Oh, crap.
So they started telling everyone to hand off. Our next runner was Conrad, our 4th leg runner, and he was back in the line to hand off because he knew Kevin had another lap. The official ran over, grabbed Conrad by the arm, pulled him over to the front, and made him hand off with Kevin. Kevin tried to dodge him, and Conrad had to grab it out of his hand and run because both Kevin and Conrad knew he should have had another lap to run. But the officials were yelling at people saying they had to hand off. They forgot they were lapped runners. They forgot they were runners in the middle of the pack. They should have just left it to the teams to know when to hand off. So Kevin only did 3 laps on his mile leg, right?
Yeah.
So he ran like a 3:20 something.
Yeah.
3:26 or whatever it was. Conrad goes in, runs his 4 laps. He gets to the finish line, and the official to me has to run another lap to make up for the lost distance.
Sure.
So now he's finished a mile, he's exhausted, and they're telling him and pushing him and saying he has to go another lap.
Yeah, he spent everything he had, like, just to get to that finish line, and then they're like, oh, no, you got to run another.
So, and he didn't do too terribly either. I mean, his last lap went pretty well. I mean, he could have been completely exhausted and had to jog it, but he's held like a 6-minute pace that last lap. There was one kid who barely ran it. I mean, he was almost walking. There was a kid stumbling. It was just crazy. Even more confusing is there were some teams who did run 4 laps on their 3rd leg, and then when they got to the last one, they were told to run another lap. So they did a whole extra quarter mile. So they did 4 laps and then 5 laps on their last leg. So they overcorrected. And then even worse, there was one team where their last guy had to run 6 laps because the officials thought he had ran only 4, but he had already done 5, and they yelled at him to do another. So this poor guy had to do 2,400 meters instead of 1,600 in his last leg. So it was just a complete mess up. It was absurd. I mean, the times were all over the place. The fastest time was way slower than it should have been.
Abort, right? It's like,
yeah, exactly.
Just reschedule and run it another day or something.
So they're like, everyone's paid their entry fees. They can't run another day because they've got the schedule full and all this. They're like, well, what do we do? The next heat they ran went completely fine. and had no issues at all. So they're like, well, we can't combine the results because it was unfair because we're the ones who messed it up. The officials did. They separated the results from both heats into two, and they said, everyone in heat 1, everyone gets medals. Everybody gets their race entry fees refunded because it wasn't your fault, right?
Yeah.
And then you get every single person in that 4-mile, every runner gets a free entry into another distance event the next 2 days. So you could have entered in the mile, you could have entered in the 3K, you could have entered in the 800, whatever you wanted for free.
That's crazy.
It's absurd.
I've never heard of such a screw up, like, ever.
Right. Especially on a scale, a meet that big and that organized, to have something like that happen. Because, I mean, in our heat too, the fastest time was way slower than it should have been because your third runner was running on pace for 4 laps. He wasn't going faster because he only did 3. And then the fourth leg had to run an extra lap, crazy slow. So every single team was just obnoxiously slow. And then there's the teams who ran an extra half mile, the teams who ran an extra quarter mile, who were just completely messed up by that and could have won. So who knows? So the way they managed it afterwards with what we got in exchange worked out pretty well. Like Conrad entered in the 800, Ryan got to enter in the emerging elite mile. So it worked out pretty well. I didn't enter in another event because I was entered in pretty much every event I could already be in. So, it worked out well. The Menlo guys, the Menlo guys, they were the ones who had to do 6 laps on their last leg and did like an extra half mile.
Whoa. So you want to talk about track?
What about it? There's a lot to talk about.
Were you happy with last season?
It was a great season. I mean, if we go back to cross country, I barely made our varsity team the start of my senior cross country season. I just kind of moved up throughout. That was a great season, just a lot of improvement, a lot of great team experiences. And then going into the track season, I didn't train too much over winter. I just kind of kept my mileage up a little bit. I had a little like shin splint kind of scare right before the track season. And I fought it off for like a month straight while I was also training to run in the Winter California State Championships, which is just kind of the small meet down at Arcadia for the winter season, which is outdoor, but in the winter. So the distance is 1,500 meter that I was training for. Barely qualified. I made it down there. I did like a 4:07, which roughly equivalent to like a 4:26 mile, something like that.
Wait. You did a 4:07, like what distance?
1,500.
That's a pretty good time.
Yeah, I mean, I was happy with that. I was like, okay, this is looking pretty good. I'm going to have a decent season. But even then, I was like really fighting off on the verge of shin splint. I don't know how I managed to get them to never really get too bad. And then they just kind of disappeared entering the track season. So that was a near close call to a not so good season.
So that was a PR?
That was my first 1,500 PR. Yeah, I only ever ran 2 1,500s. I did the qualifier at the all-comers meet at Los Gatos. And then I ran at the California Winter Championships, ran my 4:07. So yeah, that was technically a 1,500 PR, but it's also like the second time I'd ever run that distance.
To be honest, as a photographer, I don't recall ever seeing a 1,500.
Yeah, it's the collegiate distance for just any college event, but it's weird in high school. So that is the distance they do in pretty much all states for indoor track, rather than 1,600.
Okay.
But then California, there's no indoor track. So they do a thing called winter track, and it's all unofficial. You run unattached, not for ice. But the distances are like 600, 1,500, and 3,000 instead of, 800, 16, and 3,200.
Gotcha. Let's talk about the time that you beat Aiden Stephanopoulos.
I did.
Did you?
There's a picture of me running at the CCS trials at Gilroy High School where the first lap I was ahead of Aiden, and that picture kind of floated around a bit, so it looks like I'm ahead of him, but I definitely didn't beat him in that one.
Well, one of the things that you're always up for is a vlog. Every time I've shoved a vlog camera in your face, you're happy to oblige, and you talk about stuff. And I think there's an occasion where you were talking about, if I beat Aiden this time, and then you backpedaled and you said, or if he lets me beat him, something like that. Yeah. There definitely was a time during the last track season where Aiden was just playing with everybody.
Yeah, I think that could have been the Scaval final where I was like, well, Aiden's going to hit the aggregate time or the auto qual time no matter what, which is like a 4:19 or 4:20. So I was like, well, either way he's going to qualify. So maybe he lets me beat him and win the race, and then, I could get the medal. But there are no Scaval's medals anyways, so that was just kind of me goofing around. But no, he still did win that race. That was my PR for the track season, though, at Scaval finals. I did my 4:17.6, and then I kind of just slowly tapered off a little bit from there.
You did a 4:17? Wow.
So that was my end of season. I opened the season with a 4:28 at a K-Bell, and that was a PR. And then I had a couple weeks off. I ran at St. Francis. We did a DMR, but I was going to run the mile leg, and then I didn't. I was going to do the mile at St. Francis, but I know I had a race 2 days later. So I was like, I'm not going to do that. But then I had the Lynbrook Invite. That was kind of my breakthrough race for the season. I opened I wasn't expecting to do anything crazy. I was like, okay, I could go for like a mid 420s, like a 425 or something, get a nice little PR and just kind of slowly progress. And also in my previous 3 years of high school, I had never PR'd in the mile or 1600 throughout a track season. Like I'd always set my best time at the start of the season and then just get slower from there. And it was a weird trend for me. So I was kind of hoping this Limburg invite would be like a change up. It was a crazy race. I did the first 3 laps on pace for like a 428. I opened like a 65, then like a 68, then like a 67. And I was right around that 428 pace. I crossed the line at 320 with 1 lap to go, and I hammered it. I passed like 14 runners, took the lead on the last corner.
Yeah.
So my last lap, I closed in a 60 flat and got a 420. And that was my big breakthrough. I just did a crazy kick, took the win, got the medal. And that was like, okay, wait a minute, something good's happening with this season. This is actually, I was really surprised with that. I was really happy with the result. It was a 420.99, which meant I met the Arcadia standard by 100th of a second. But Of course, that wouldn't get me in just because so many people enter. I mean, the slowest time to actually make it into Arcadia for the 16 was like a 4:15 or something like that. But I can say I qualified.
Wow.
For whatever.
You are way faster than I thought you were. And that is quite an improvement. Aren't you glad your mom made you do it?
I'm definitely glad she made me do it. It would have been nicer if it didn't take the forced entry to freshman cross country. I think I would have preferred to be a little more self-motivated back then and actually choose to do it. But I can also thank her for putting me in it and, getting me where I am today. But I definitely wouldn't be here without it.
You've been accepted by Cal Poly to run for them, correct?
Cal Poly Humboldt, yeah.
Cal Poly.
Like an asterisk on the end. Cal Poly, the original one's in San Luis Obispo. That's the big campus. And then Cal Poly Pomona's down in LA. It's a little smaller. Cal Poly Humboldt's the one all the way up in Northern California. It's by Eureka. It's like a 10,000 student campus, so it's pretty medium sized. It's D2. So yeah, I committed there in like March.
Oh, you're going to be up north. This is all new to me. I had no idea. But you are to be congratulated. Only, Jordan looked this up, only 7% of you guys make it to run for college.
I was just saying that's an interesting stat, the 7% number.
Tell me about the Fluffy Bunny Track Club.
So,
what the heck is that?
To compete at any like postseason meets like Nike Outdoor Nationals or like New Balance Indoor Nationals in between the seasons or any of the nationals meets or even non-high school affiliated meets, you can either run unattached or you can run for a club. But if you want to have a relay team, you need to be in a club so you can have run for the same group. So some boys from our team wanted to put together a 4x-mile team, a 4x800 team to go to Nike Outdoor Nationals. Ryan Sacco, his dad, Nathan, and his brother have had this track club for a long time. And last year they were like, well, we can put together a relay team. We'll easily qualify. We'll do it under this track club. So they got together some jerseys last year and did that. And I don't know too much about that. I wasn't on that team last year. Then this year we made some new jerseys. Ryan designed them and we special ordered them, got them together, entered for Nike. And so our 4x-mile team with me, Kevin Sacco, Ryan Sacco, and Conrad St. Dennis qualified for the championship 4x-mile. Our 4x800 team was me, Jackson Cresta, Conrad St. Dennis, and Taryn Gray. Oh, geez. It was me, the 4x800 at Nike Outdoor Nationals. It was me, Taryn Graywall, Ryan Sacco, and Jackson Cresta. So for that one, we qualified for the Emerging Elite 4x800. And then I didn't even know they had entered me in this, but Nathan, which is technically our coach for Fluffy Bunny, he entered me for the 1600 or the mile, and I got accepted into the Emerging Elite mile. So I ran in that one too. So I ended up having 3 races, 3 days in a row, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Oof, that must have hurt.
It was definitely a new experience and a little tiring.
Yeah, but you did really well, right? What'd you place?
Yeah, could be worse. So Friday in the 4x-mile, there was this crazy handoff error. We can touch on that in a little bit. And my split wasn't great, but that was kind of my, rust buster type race because I hadn't raced since literally CCS finals. So I didn't do too great in that, but it was still a reasonably good time. And then the 4x8 the next day, I did like a 2 flat. So that was pretty close to my PR. So I felt good for that. That one was pretty good. And then our team overall, we got like 9th or something in the heat that we were in. So that went pretty well. And then on Sunday for my mile, I got spiked pretty bad on the first lap, and the rest of the race was pretty tough, just kind of pushing through it. So my time was like a 4:33 or something. So it was pretty far off my PR, like 16 seconds off, but it wasn't bad. And I went mainly for the experience and the fun of it. It was just great to be able to compete on a space like that. It was fun.
Again, I had no idea you were as fast as that. You said 416 is your 1600? 415?
417.6, yeah.
That's insane. That's really, really good.
It took me quite some time to get there, yeah.
It's faster than Alex or Jordan.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought
Oh no,
Okay.
I think Alex is in the 420s. I think still like 421, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, when they were, competing in meets with me, I was not really close to that, so I wasn't too up to date on their PRs.
So you mentioned the Humboldt training program. I take it that that's just the training program for the campus up north with 10,000 people to which you're going to be attending.
Yeah, so I'm headed up to Cal Poly Humboldt in the fall. And I mean, just training program. It's just, I've been talking to my coach. He's given me some pointers on my training over the summer. He can't give me a full training plan or anything like that for NCAA rules or whatever. It's just kind of some pointers on what I should be getting ready for. And so I head up there on August 15th. And then we have a training camp right after that. We go camping. And then we have this proof of fitness test on Monday, the Monday after I move in. I think I can pull this up because there's some interesting stuff about it. Monday, August 18th, I have this proof of fitness where basically everyone goes down to this marsh near the school on this gravel path. And the idea is the boys start off at 5:25 pace, and you have to stay at that exact pace. You can't deviate more than 10 seconds in total. So if you're 5 seconds off on the first mile, you can't stay 5 seconds off. You have to correct for that. The further you go, you have to be within 10 seconds of 5:25 pace for the actual total time. Now, the goal, if I pull up the sheet here, for a freshman, the idea is that you go at this 5:25 pace for 6 miles, and you have to be able to hold that as a freshman just to be eligible and be on the team. And then 1 additional mile each successive year is just kind of the baseline goal, but that also is just kind of helping the coaches with your placement and figuring out where on the team you're going to be, what meets and all that. So just being right at the end of summer before training actually starts, it's giving them a good way to see how dedicated you were over the summer and how, focused you were on your own training. So that's kind of what I'm training for right now.
So they accept you on the team, but they still need to gauge your level of capability. That's new.
Yes.
I've never heard of that.
They're gonna sign you PRs, and they talk to you, and there's many reasons that, many things they look at in an athlete. But if you, stop your training right after your track season and you show up in August and you haven't run since May, you're not going to be in cross country shape, and you're not going to be able to be in cross country shape for another few months. They want to kind of test you early on and make sure you actually put in the work and you're ready to go. Because otherwise, the best decision, if you're not in shape for cross country, the best decision for you is going to be to redshirt your freshman cross country season, because you have 1 optional redshirt. So then you actually still have another year of eligibility. Because either way, you're not going to be like top 10 on the team and actually able to run it meets. So it's better to just save your eligibility. So they want to know if they should have you do that or not.
Okay, so you're off to Cal Poly up north. I had no idea that campus was even there. What are you going to major in? Right
now, I'm undeclared, and we have specific academic advisors for athletes so they can kind of help with your schedule and other things like that. And, I've heard from a lot of people at the school, like administrators and whatever, and also other people on the team I've communicated with, that just staying undeclared for your first 2 years just keeps you open much later. So I can do all my general education credits in the first 2 years, get those knocked out, and then I can declare my major once I've kind of had that time to figure out what I'm really interested in through those other classes. Then I can have the last 2 years of school just really focusing in classes that go towards my major. So I can just kind of delay my decision until later and then be really certain not have to go through changing a major or whatever.
Any idea what you might be interested in?
A lot of people around me in my life say that, like, I have that kind of engineering mindset, and that's kind of what I lean towards. And I agree. I mean, I'm definitely very naturally inclined towards that kind of thing. I just don't want to, make my decision so early and be stuck on something like that. Maybe I find something I really want to do in the next year or whatever.
Well, and there's so many different kinds of engineering. So do you look up to anybody?
Throughout my whole time in track and cross country, there was always, like, in each season, there was always someone I'd look up to, whether or not that was chasing someone or just looking up to how good they were. My freshman year, I specifically remember throughout cross country and track, I mean, I was dog slow pretty much. Track season, I got a bit better, but I would look up to Micah Huang, who was a senior at the time. He was, in my eyes, just unbelievably fast in cross country. He was motivated. He was mature. I mean, he was very friendly to all the freshmen and, was open and welcoming. I'd always see him in the race and be amazed by how fast this guy was. And then in track season, he was crazy quick too. And he was a great motivator like that. And we still talk to this day. And I've gone on a couple of runs with him since he graduated back in 2022. So he was a big motivator that year. And then sophomore year, everyone was chasing after. There were a bunch of kids in my grade who I was starting to catch up with sophomore year, who I had been way behind freshman year, but I was kind of starting to pick it up like, hey, I'm going to latch on this person or this person and try to focus on that being my next goal. And then same thing junior year, I was really kind of getting up in the pack and like, okay, yeah, I'm with people my age now and actually being more competitive now. But throughout the years, there was like a senior, someone that was just unbelievably fast that I'd look up to. And then going into my senior season, I mean, this seems kind of obvious, but having someone like Aiden on my team
Yeah.
Like he's, just unbelievably fast, and just having someone like, okay, now I can kind of start to train near him, and I'm coming up on that, and like having that person, and now I'm in mile races with him and in that competition space with him where he's, like at CCS finals, he's 6-7 seconds ahead of me. I can see him in the distance, and I've never done that before. And just having that there, it's like, okay, I can chase that down. That's my goal. And also just having someone else in my grade who's motivated and has goals to achieve and is looking forward to, being an athlete in college. It's like someone that I can, kind of pursue my goals on the same team with and kind of see that progression, something to go along with.
It's awesome. Your performance for the 4 years that you ran has just been amazing. And I really am thankful to your mom that she convinced you to take it up. I mean, look at what you discovered.
Right. I'm very thankful to that too. Yeah.
I was saying to Eli actually in the last run that I think there are a lot of people running around that have the talent, yourself maybe being an example, but they don't know it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And they don't know it. And then when they start to run, they realize, hey, wait a minute, I'm kind of good at this.
I remember back in middle school, there were these 3 boys in my 6th grade, and in their PE miles, they were breaking 6. They were running like mid 5-minute miles in 6th grade. They were tearing up cross country throughout middle school, just unbelievably fast. I mean, they were head to head with like Aiden and Carson Headland in these middle school races, and then they just never ran in high school. They went off and did other sports. But the potential there was incredible. And just looking at that, like they could have been 3 more runners in Scaval would have been right around that kind of group that Aiden and Carson were in. And I was like, but you see a lot of that, people who just have the incredible potential for running, but they just don't enjoy it and they don't move along with it. Whereas I had, no speed, no potential whatsoever initially, and I didn't like it either, being, made to do it for that first season. Then I started to like running way before I actually got good at it. It was mainly the team aspect that I really enjoyed freshman year. It was like just going out on runs with people. I was like, I can enjoy doing this. And I never thought I would be competitive. I never thought I would be particularly fast. So I just said, I'll stick with this because it's fun. And I'm, happy doing this. It's something to fill up my time and I enjoy it. So that just kind of worked. And then I started to realize, I'm actually getting somewhere. And then I got that aspect too that helped me stick with it.
So this is the perfect segue for the next question then. What advice would you have for up-and-coming freshmen that are coming in and considering running sports?
You got to have fun with it. Like, that's the biggest thing. A lot of people from the start are like, I need to be fast. I need to be the best. I need to, in 4 years, be D1 shape and be the fastest out there. And for me, I never thought I'd be able to do that. So I had to find some kind of motivation to do it. And for me, it was just, I wanted to be able to literally go on easy runs with my teammates and not have that be a race effort. My freshman cross-country season, literally, our easy runs would pretty much be a race effort for me. It was just impossible to hold like an 8:30 pace. Finding the fun in it is the most important part for me. And for anyone coming into it, that's just the most important thing. You have to love what you're doing if you're dedicating so much time to it. And you're not going to want to dedicate that much time to it. You're not going to have the motivation to dedicate the time to it if you don't actually enjoy it and find it fun. If you're not finding it fun and, really enjoying the process, because the process is where all the improvement comes from. If you're not enjoying that process, you're never going to want to continue it. And if you're not enjoying it, you're not going to get better at it. So you've got to, just really focus on really just have fun with it. Make that the most important thing to you, and that'll take you great places. If you can just find it fun, you'll go great places with it.
I have my personal opinion where it's like embrace the utopia, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a utopian sport. If you finish, that's great. If you PR, that's awesome. If you're the last person across the finish line, people cheer, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's no downside to any of it. Everything is just encourage.
It's a very supportive sport from everyone around you.
Yes.
And that you just got to really take that in and realize no matter where you are, you can find fun in it, and everyone else around you is going to support you. And it's just a great place to be, and it's a great place to just commit to and improve over time, and you'll go great places.
This has been a great episode of The Handoff. Flynn Merriman. I've had countless hours talking with his father, Frank, and he's a personal friend of the family. He's the most improved runner for Los Gatos. He's one of these people that has discovered that he has an amazing talent, didn't realize he had it, and then he was kind of nudged into it. And wow, 4:17 you said? For 1600? That's amazing. That's really fast. He is, well, I was going to say you were the co-founder of the Fluffy Bunny Club, but it sounds like the Fluffy Bunny Club already existed and you just kind of hitched in.
It's been around for a while. Definitely not the co-founder. I just kind of got, graciously welcomed in to compete at Nike.
Okay, and you did well at the Nike Outdoor National. And you, I have to say, have been the most helpful person in putting this interview together that I've ever had. You gave me so many pictures and stuff. Flynn Merriman, it's been awesome having you on the Handoff. Thank you so much for being on the Handoff. We really appreciate it.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for having me.